Hello student, welcome to my channel Soil and Land Management. Today we are going to discuss about another topic, that is the acid soil. So first we should know what is the acid. So different scientists have given the different definitions. So as per the Arrhenius, he said that acid is a substance which will produce the hydrogen ions, or which can donate the hydrogen ions or hydronium ions. That one we can say the acids. So Bronsted and Lowry have given another definition. He said that the acid is a substance which can donate the proton or produce the proton, or which can donate the proton to the other substance, that is the acid. So Lewis has given another definition that acid is a substance which can accept the electron pair, that is substance. So what is the acid soil? So we know that the pH scale is used to know the acid and base nature of any substance. pH scale is range from 0 to 14 and is given by Sorensen 1907. Uh, so the acid soil is the soil which have the pH less than 6.5 and will have the higher concentration of H plus ions and other cations like the aluminium in a soil solution. So the important point is here, how soil acid soil will develop, or what are the factor responsible for the acid soil formation. First one, that is the leaching of bases. We know that the base is responsible for the formation of the alkaline soil. If the bases will get leach out due to the high rainfall, like calcium, magnesium, sodium will get leach out, the soil become unsaturated with base. That condition will develop the acidity in the soil. Mostly this is possible in the high rainfall area in India, like the northeast region of India, Uti region of India, that is Western Ghat of India, Malabar Hill of India, where the rainfall is more than 1000 to 1500 mm. Those areas will see the acid soil. The another factor, that is the organic matter. We know that the organic matter contain different functional groups like carboxylic, carbolic, phenolic, hydrolic, amines. When this group will get dissociate, will release the H plus ions, and that H plus ions will increase the soil acid into the soil. If you see here, this is the functional group. In this functional group, H will get dissociate and go into the soil solution. Go into the soil solution. The another factor is the decomposition of the organic residue. When the organic residue will get decomposed, it will release the CO2 gas. That CO2 gas will react with the water and form the carbonic acid. From that carbonic acid, H plus ions will get released into the soil solution and make the soil acidic. Another factor is the roots CAC, that is the cation capacity of roots. So plant will absorb the nutrient like calcium, magnesium, potassium, or any other cations. When it will release the will absorb, so plant have to release the H plus ions to maintain the balance in the cytoplasm. So plant will release only the H plus ions. That H plus ion released into the soil solution will increase the soil acidity. The respiration of plant roots, when the plant will get plants will do the plant roots will do the respiration, will release the CO2 which form the carbonic acid and release the H plus ion in the soil solution. The another factor, that is the acidic parent material. The two types of parent material will be there, acidic and basic. So acidic parent material like acidic rock like the granite, which develop the red soil, which is acidic in nature, and basic parent material like the base soil there was a black soil, which is a basic nature. In acid soil, the basic cation content will be less, so the soil is acidic. Another factor, that is the fertilizers. Those fertilizer will contain the ammonium, that is NH4, will get nitrified into NO3 and release the H plus ion into the soil solution. So this factor is mostly development of the acid soil. Then aluminum silicate clay. Those soil will have the cavolites or 2s1 mineral, or the uh, other aluminum containing minerals. So their edges will broken and will release the H plus ion into soil, will increase the acidity, because around Al there is a OH ion, so that O and H will get break and it will come into the soil solution, and that will increase the acidity. Then another factor, that is exchangeable aluminum. When the exchangeable aluminum will come into the soil solution, will react with the water, which bring out the hydrolysis. And when bring out the hydrolysis, the H and OH will get separated. OH will react with the aluminum and form the aluminum hydroxide, and H, that is a residual part of the water, will be available in the soil solution, that is responsible for the soil acidity. Then how many types of soil acidity will be there? So first one is the active acidity. Active acidity, also called the true acidity, that is developed with the presence of H and aluminum ions into the soil solution. That is directly affect the plant roots and the microorganism and nutrient availability in the soil solution, and it will measure by the soil pH meter. Another one is the exchangeable acidity. Exchangeable acidity refers to the acidity caused by the H plus and the aluminum, which is absorbed on the soil surface or the soil clay particles, that will be replaced by the any other cation. These types of acidity will determined by the titration reaction. In the non-exchangeable acidity, this acidity developed due to the non-replaceable of H plus ion by the other cation. That is mainly due to the formation of the hydroxy aluminum polymers, which is uh, formed due to the hydrolysis of the aluminum, which is present on the soil surface or the interface or on the surface of the organic matter. These types of acidity arise the hydrogen ions, which is dissociated from the iron and aluminum hydroxide, as well as the carboxylic and hydroxylic group of the organic matter. Then the total this non-active acidity also we will call the reserve acidity. That is also determined by the titration reaction. Total acidity is the summation of the active acidity, exchangeable acidity, and non-exchangeable acidity. So, what are the effect of the soil acidity on the plant growth? How H plus and aluminum is affect the plant growth? There are two types of the effect, that is direct and indirect effect. In direct effect, we see the toxic effects of H plus ion on the root tissue. When the H plus ions are excess in the acidic soil, the root cell will get damaged. So that cell or the root is not uptake the water or other types of the nutrients. Then it influences the permeability of the plant membranes, like the high acidity changes the cell membrane of the root, that is the permeability of the nutrient, and affect the entry of the different cations like calcium, magnesium, potassium. So because of that, the plant will get suffer and the deficiency symptoms will appear. Then it will disturb the balance of the nutrient. If the acidic soil is there, the calcium, magnesium, potassium deficiency will occur. Plant will not absorb this nutrient, so the poor growth and nutrient imbalance will see in the cytoplasm. Indirect effect, that is the poor growth of legumes. So leguminous crop which is the sensitive to the acidic soil, that will not grow well under such condition. So there is a need of the uh, different cations for the legumes. Then different crops like the cotton, maize, wheat, which is sensitive to acidic condition, the root growth will not occur. It also have the poor impact on the yield and the nutrient imbalance. In acidic soil, we mostly see the deficiencies of the calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, even molybdenum also. So their deficiency will get uh, their deficiency will increase in the acidic soil. So phosphorus is get fixed into the different form, that is the aluminum phosphorus and the iron phosphorus form, that will not be available to the plant. Then we will see the toxicity of different metals also in acidic soil, like the iron, magnesium, aluminum. Because in the acidic soil, iron, magnesium, and aluminum, that is present in the reduced form. So plant that is highly available to the plant. So plant will uptake in the huge amount. Then we will see the deficiencies of the micronutrient like molybdenum and boron, that will convert into the different forms, so that it will not be available to the soil in acidic soil, to available to the plant in acidic soil. Then the slow decomposition of organic matter. If the soil is acidic, in the acidic soil only fungi will grow, so actinomides and bacteria will not grow. So in such condition the decomposition rate will reduce, because we know that the population of bacteria is more, so the decomposition will increase. But in acidic soil decomposition will reduce. But the major factor, that is the fungi. In acidic soil the fungi diseases will increase, like the wilt disease is most common in the acidic soil. Then another one is the transformation of nutrients. We know that the sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus which is present in the organic form, that should get transferred into the inorganic form through the mineralization process, which will occur by the different microbes. So that process will get reduced. So the release of nutrient into the soil will get reduced. Mostly the nitrification process, which is stopped when the pH is less than 5.5. Then how we can manage the acid soil. So first one is the crop choice. We have to select those crop which is suitable to the acid soil. For example, rice is there, tea is there, coffee is there, rubber plants are there. These are suitable to the acidic soil. So better to avoid the crops like cotton, wheat, maize. They are not suitable to the uh, acidic soil. If we'll take also, there will be the nutrient deficiencies in the plant will not be absorb the nutrients, so we'll get a lacing. So another choice for the acid soil management, that is a liming. So liming is the application of the alkaline compound like calcium and magnesium, or both, to raise the soil pH up to the optimum value. That optimum value will be the 6, pH 6. Okay. When will application of lime, which eliminate the active acidity, and minimize the residual and raise the calcium content in soil. So it will focus on the active acidity. Liming, which improve the base saturation and availability of calcium, magnesium, avoid the fixation of phosphorus, or you can say reduce the fixation of phosphorus and molybdenum and become active. Then the toxicity of the aluminum, iron, manganese, which corrected, or we can say that the toxicity of aluminum, iron, manganese can reduce by the liming process. So the root growth and the nutrient uptake is be improved. The liming also improve the microbial activity and different processes which is related to microbial activities like the nitrogen fixation, mineralization, like that. Then what is the liming material? Liming material are the material which used to neutralize the soil solution hydrogen ion. So when we will use the liming material, that liming material should have the base, conjugative base. So like calcium carbonate is there, in that calcium will be there. So that we use for the liming. So conjugative base like carbonates, hydroxide, oxide, silicates. The carbonate, oxide, hydroxide of calcium, magnesium represent agricultural lime, which is important and common in the agriculture. Some liming material will be used for the liming of acid soil, that is calcium oxide, which also called the burnt lime, a quick lime, that is prepared from the calcium carbonate. By the burning of the calcium carbonate, we will get the calcium oxide. In calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH by 2, it's called slake lime or hydrate lime. This is formed from the calcium oxide by the hydrolysis of calcium oxide and calcium carbonate. So in this liming material, the most important thing, that one, that is the this conjugated bases. So whatever the anions will be there present with the cation, that is the conjugated bases. That bases will neutralize the H plus ions into the soil, and calcium and magnesium will increase the base saturation of the soil. So what are the efficiencies of the soil? How you will measure the efficiency of the liming material? So first parameter we use, that is the calcium carbonate equivalent, or we also say that is the neutralizing value. So it is the capacity of liming material. The compare it with the standard material like the calcium carbonate. This we'll consider is 100%. So calcium carbonate equivalent neutralizing value is the acid neutralizing capacity of that liming material, which is expressed in the weight percentage of calcium carbonate. The formula is calcium carbonate equivalent is equal to equivalent weight of the calcium carbonate divided by the equivalent weight of lime material to the 100. So these are the calcium carbonate equivalent weight, or we can say the neutralizing value. Calcium carbonate is efficiency is 100%. Compared to the this calcite, dolomite is a 108. is more efficiency than the calcium carbonate. Weak lime, that is calcium oxide, that is 178%, is more efficient than the calcite. That is lake lime, that is hydride lime, that is 136% more efficient compared to the calcium carbonate. Basic sludge is 86%. Wood ash will be the 40 to 90% calcium carbonate equivalent. Okay, we can, when we will use the calcium carbonate, uh, better than this, these are the different sources, that is the calcium oxide and calcium hydroxide will have the more efficiency compared to the calcium carbonate. Then another factor we'll consider to know the efficiencies of the liming material, that is the purity and fineness. So efficiency of the living material depends on purity and the degree of fineness. Finer the material, more rapids it will dissolve and increase the surface contact with the soil. Result will be the higher the rate of reaction. So the efficiency rate of the material will efficiency of that liming material increase if the liming is more pure or is more fine. Okay, if you see the uh, purity, if the liming material passing through 60 massive, that is 100% efficiency. If the material passing through 20 mass but not to 60 mass, then it is the 60% efficiency. If the material passing to ace mass and not passing to the 20 massive, it is 20% efficiency. So what is the mass? Mass means 8 mass means in 1 inch 8 holes are there. 60 mass means on 1 inch, that is 60 holes are there. Another factor, that is effective calcium carbonate, that is also called neutralizing index. That one will calculate by the calcium carbonate equivalent and fineness factor. What is the lime requirement and why we will do, and what is the importance of the lime requirement? So liming is the important because it's also part of the crop production. So we will apply the lime to raise the soil pH up to the optimal level. That value will be the optimal level, that is 6 to 7. If the soil pH is 5.5, if the soil pH is 5.5 and we want to raise the pH up to because 6 to 7, that one will consider from 6.5 to 7.5, which will consider the as the neutral soil. So we have to bring the soil into 6 to 7 range. The soil is 4.5. How much lime is required to bring the soil up to 6 to, or between 6 to 7? Okay, so the liming requirement is depends on many factors like the surface area. The amount of lime to be applied in the soil will depends on many factors like the surface and subsurface of the soil, texture of the soil, clay content, what is the cation etching capacity, the base structure of the soil, amount of organic matter, and which crop to be grown, then the fineness, purity of the material, and how much money required for the liming material. So this factor we will consider to decide how much amount of lime to be required to bring the soil pH between the 6.5 to 7.5. If the fine texture soil is there, the quantity is required more compared to the coarse texture soil because the surface area of the fine texture soil will be the more. So more H plus ion will be there. So more calcium is required. That is more lime should be applied. So lime required we will determine by the showmaker buffer method. So in this method we will take 20 gram of the soil sample and 40 ml of the buffer solution. So in this buffer solution there will be the calcium acetate, calcium chloride, then triethanolamine, this solution. So when we will add the buffer solution, that buffer solution will replace the H plus ion present on the soil surface and bring the H plus ion to the soil solution. Because of this reaction, the H plus ion concentration will increase in the soil solution and the soil still will become more acidic, and all the calcium present in the buffer solution will go on the soil surface and increase the base saturation. So finally we have to check the soil pH. Finally we have to check the pH of the soil suspension. Suppose we got the soil pH that is 5.6 and we want to make the pH 6. Okay, so this is the ready record table. In that pH 6, pH 6.4 and 6.8, how much calcium carbon required in tons per acre, this is given in this table. Suppose the your soil suspension pH is 5.6 and we want to bring the pH 6, then there we have to apply 5.6 tons per acre calcium carbonate. Okay, if you want the pH 6.4, we have to apply 6.7 tons per acre calcium carbonate. If you want pH 6.8, we have to apply 7.7 calcium carbonate, like that. Suppose we one sample is there, in that sample soil pH is 5, and we want to make the pH 6, we have to apply 8.2 tons per acre calcium carbonate. If you want to pH 6.4, we have to apply 9.6 tons calcium carbonate tons per acre. Or we want to make 6.8, then we have to apply 11.2 tons per acre calcium carbonate. So this is the procedure for the lime requirement, and this is the laboratory methods. So this method, what are the calcium carbonate is there, that one we have to multiply with the 1.5 factor, that is the called the lime requirement factor. So in this factor useful, this factor will do to apply the lime requirement in the field condition, because whatever the lime requirement we are analyzing, that one we are analyzing in the lab, but when how much we have to apply lime into the field, that one we have to convert into the another value. So for that 1.5 is a factor. That 1.5 factor will consider all the things like the fineness, then which crop is there, what is the condition of the field, it is the surface depth or subsurface depth, what is the texture, all those things. Then what is the beneficial effects of the liming on the plant growth? So this liming will increase the microbial activities, and that microbial activities will bring out the quick decomposition of the crop residues, as well as the mineralization or the release of the nutrient into the soil. They need help for the symbiotic and non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation. If the soil is the acidic, calcium is the most important element, like molybdenum is the most important element, boron is the most important element, phosphorus is the most important element for the nitrogen fixation, and those elements are that is unavailable to the plant in the acidic soil. If we will do the liming, the calcium, magnesium, boron content, molybdenum content will increase, and the nitrogen fixation process will increase. Then filled with the liming, the phosphorus availability will increase and reduce the fixation of the phosphorus by the iron, magnesium, aluminum. So the phosphorus will become available to the plant. It also increases the ability to potassium and reduce the luxurious consumption of the potassium by the plant. Luxurious consumption means a huge amount that is not necessary for the plant also. Increase the calcium, magnesium content, reduce the toxicity of iron, magnesium, zinc, copper. Then increase the mobility of molybdenum and boron, decrease the concentration H plus ions, increase the concentration of OH ions, improve the physical condition like the structure, infiltration, reduce the bulk density of soil, increase the population. Then decreases the plant disease, that is the wilt diseases. Then the over liming and toxicity of liming. If we will apply the more lime content, that is also the problematic. So that's why we are determining the lime in the lab. So if the over liming is there, that is the stunting of growth and yellowing of the leaves will occur. Then the deficiencies of the iron micronutrient is mostly possible. Then reduce the availability of phosphorus due to the formation of the insoluble complex like the calcium phosphate and the magnesium phosphate. Then this more overlapping will interfere with the boron chemistry and reduce the uptake, and form one calcium borate complex. So the boron will not be available to the plant. Then reduce the potassium in the plants and deficits will occur. Then increase the susceptibility of the diseases to the plant, like the actinomyces disease, scab disease in the potato, that diseases. Then organic soil also will suffer, less suffer than mineral soil. If you see. Then another topic that one will also want to discuss, that is the acid sulfate soil, is also called the cat clay, because that acid sulfate soil will have the yellow color, and that yellow color can also have the yellow eyes. So that's why the color of the acid sulfate, and it will match with the cat eyes. That's why it's called the cat clay. It is found in the Kerala and the West Bengal region, Sundarban region. So this is formed due to the sufficient amount of sulfite will be present in the soil or the water, and the pH of the soil will be less than 3.5. So this soil is good before the drainage. If we'll do the drainage, if we'll remove the drain of the water, the sulfide is there iron phosphide is there, it will convert into H2SO4. That H2SO4 will reduce the soil pH. So the most important mineral present in acid sulfate are the jarosides. Okay, iron sulfide. These two minerals responsible for the acid sulfate soil. So before the drainage, this soil will have the pH more than 5. So this is called the potential acid sulfate soil. If we will do the drainage in coastal area, the soil mostly available. If you will do the drainage, the soil pH will reduce due to the oxidation of this FeS2, or that's called pyrite, iron pyrite, or the jarosite, and this sulfur will convert into sulfuric acid. The soil pH will be less than 3.5. That is the perfect acid sulfate soil. They found in Kerala and the West Bengal, that is Sundarban region of West Bengal. Then what is happening in the soil, the how this soil will form. This soil is formed in the coastal area. Near to the coastal area, this soil will form. Suppose the land inundated with the water which contains sulfate, or the salt water which contains sulfur compound, and the soil is poorly irrigated, there is no problem. There is a no problem, bacteria will get reduced sulfate to sulfide. So soil which are not acidic, when in the first will do the drainage, the water, then the soil will get eroded, the sulfide will oxidize into sulfate. By combine or by the reaction, chemical or bacterial reaction, it will convert into the sulfuric acid. That sulfuric acid will reduce the soil pH. Then this is the reaction sulfur will present. It will convert into react with oxygen, will form the sulfuric acid. This is accelerated by the bacteria, autotrophic bacteria. Mostly the Theobacillus sulfur oxidizing bacteria. Hydrogen sulfide will be there. That in the soil, hydrogen sulfide will be there. It form the aquatic disease in the rice root. So rice root will become the black in color. So this condition will form in a anaerobic condition. So sulfur is present in the H2S form before the oxidation. So this H2S is toxic in nature to the rice. So will develop the black color to the plant roots. That disease is called aquatic disease. Which occurred due to the toxicity of the hydrogen sulfide. Then how to manage this acid sulfate soil? So we should focus on the soil. So in we should focus on the soil, or we should know that the soil will contain sulfides. If the sulfides is there, keep that area is flooded. Don't do the drainage. Okay, if you do the drainage, it will convert into sulfuric acid. Then it's very difficult to manage such types of soil. Or we have to control the some water table. So suppose sulfide level is there up to the 30 centimeter, we have to maintain the water level more than that depth, so that sulfide should not get oxidized. Okay, and this soil is very difficult to manage. Okay, if you want to manage this soil by the lime, we have to apply nearly 224 million tons lime per hectare, and that is for the 10 years. That is for the 10 years. So it will not rectify made so easily before the 10 years. It will take nearly 10 to 20 years. Also we should consider that it is cost effective method or not, application life, because huge amount of life from where we'll get. So we should consider also the effectiveness of that line, the purity of line, fineness of the line. Maybe the purity and fineness is not considered. In such cases, the line require also the more, the quantity will require more than this. Okay, so better option will be there in such condition. There's in that condition, go with some alkylated sea water is ultimate solution with a natural process, which will increase the acid, which will increase the base of the soil, reduce the acidity. Okay, otherwise if you will apply the magnesium oxide, so this magnesium oxide will not allow to form the H2SO4. That is another thing. The magnesium oxide will not form the H2SO4 because this magnesium react with the SO4 and form magnesium magnesium sulfate. So that magnesium sulfate will not make the soil acidic. So these are the things. So in this most important topic, this most important topic presently in India, because we are facing the nutrient deficiencies in the acid surface soil. The lime requirement is very important to improve the soil quality or soil health. So we should also focus on uh, how to manage the farmers, or how to improve the quality of the farmers by adding the limes. So application lime also is not important. Along with the application lime, we should go for the green manuring, then FIM application. So all those conditions will improve the soil condition of the acidic soil. So this is another important topic I want to share with the students. So thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.